spirituality have to do with becoming? It has everything to do with becoming. Contemplative spirituality has everything to do with becoming, because contemplative spirituality is very much about waking up to the lies that I've listened to and let define me, and those lies shape my identity. And so through contemplative spirituality, those lies are exposed. Lies like, I am what I have, I am what I do, I am what others say about me or think about me. And once those lies are exposed, it's possible then to excavate essence and discover who I really am.
What do you mean by excavating essence? That's kind of cool.
It's not really fair. That's something I learned from my husband. I think maybe he coined that term when he was filming with you, actually.
We could put his face in there.
Yeah. Excavating essence. I love that. That's been my experience. Like through contemplative prayer, there has been an excavation of sorts, mining through my lies and my illusions, my misconceptions about myself, others, and ultimate reality, and finding what Richard Ward calls the immortal diamond, right? That truest part of who I am, the part of me that is united with God in Christ, and waking up to that, realizing that, coming into more alignment with that identity changes everything.
Like what?
Like changes the way in which I relate to the world, the way in which I relate to my husband, the way in which I determine what things to say yes to and what things to say no to. Once we awaken to our truest self, that immortal diamond within that is aligned with God, then the
Not everybody's created with a diamond, right? Only like some people are created with God's diamond in them, right?
Only some?
I think so. That's what I thought.
It's in all of us.
Really?
We're all in God. We all are from God. We all have that connection, right? We have that that life, that love that comes from our Creator. It's in us. Nothing can separate us from that except for our lies and our illusions that keep us from being aware of it. It's still there. So Ignatius of Loyola was a master of discernment. I thought I knew about discernment before I studied Ignatius. So Ignatius is from the 16th century, and he founded the Society of Jesus. We know them as the Jesuits. And he was just incredible. Growing up, I thought, kind of like you were saying, well, just pray about it. And just kind of whatever you feel, what's in your heart, you know? And that can be part of discernment, but it may also not be discernment. And Ignatius really helped me to learn how to pay minute attention to the voices within me. Some of those are aligned with God, and some of those are not aligned with God. And so the classic kind of talk around this is, you know, was that God's voice or was that the pizza I ate for lunch, right? And so it can be difficult to know and to discern God's presence and action in our life. But once we learn to discern spirits, really, the good and the evil that is within all of us, then we have the opportunity to really be liberated to choose more often the spirit of good, and to follow that goodness in the world in the various decisions that we make. So discernment brings liberation because it allows us to have real precise clarity around the ways in which we are being led. And at one time, we can be led away from alignment with the will of God and be led into alignment with the will of God. Both can be happening at the same time. And so we need discernment to, first of all, be able to see those different motivations or movements in the way that we're being motivated, and then to be clear around now which of these motivations is truly coming from God. Through contemplative practice, it's like this discernment muscle is exercised, because through contemplative prayer, I'm essentially letting go of my own will throughout the practice. And so this muscle develops so that in my daily life, it becomes easier to detect when I'm in the flow and when I'm out of the flow, which makes all of my decisions easier, so that with my work, for example, I get various invitations to do this or that. It becomes almost second nature now to know, yes, I'm just say yes to that. No, I'm just say no to that. Whereas before, I would have labored over almost every decision, not knowing. So that clarity, like you said, it just allows you to take a big, deep breath and just flow with what it is I'm meant to do and be and offer in the world, you know? The thing about contemplative spirituality is that it reveals to us these resources within us that are already there. Yeah, and it's very empowering, because we realize that through contemplative practice, we can gain access to those resources that will allow us to be aligned with the will of God and live into our truest self and be more likely to live into our potential. And I mean, that gives us all a lot of hope, you know, that there's actually these resources within us that will free us to live a meaningful, abundant life, that we can just develop these skills really through contemplative practice. I mean, how marvelous is that, right?